Hi, lovely people. It's your girl Karina. I am at the park hanging with my daughter, and I wanted to come to you guys to answer any questions if you're catching me live. I'm just getting more and more used to my lives, so I want to practice being live and be able to use all the functions properly. And also tell you guys what's coming up this week, what I'm dropping this week. But if you're here, shoot me a message right in the chats. Let me see if I can read your comments in the chats because I'm just practicing going live. So I don't see anybody yet. I see that there's people on, but I don't see anybody. So write to me in the chats. Let me know that you're here. Tell me, is there an astrology question that you're dying to know? Because I'm coming up with content and I want to know. Hi. Okay, here we go. C. Hi. What's up? So, what are your astrology questions? What are the things that you'd like to know more, or at least hear from me more about? I can speak on them today. I'm also looking to be more inspired and creating more content for you guys. Do I prefer tropical or sidereal? I actually prefer both. They both inform me. When I'm looking at my regular daily transits, my monthly transits, my yearly transits, I will use tropical. But to gain more information about a certain position, I'll go to Vedic. For instance, in the previous posting that I have on K2, I talk about how Virgo is not as much of a perfectionist as you might think. And the reason that I get that information is from Vedic. So certain positions, like your natal positions, you can use the Vedic to go even deeper. And there is a nakshatra called Kritika, which is actually in the Taurus. It's on the Taurus and Gemini cusp. And this nakshatra in Vedic astrology speaks about having a critical eye. You know, its symbolism is a knife. So all of that um, information from the Vedic nakshatra informs me more about what signs really are the perfectionists, which signs are really truly showing their real sides. And so that's why I say Virgo is not the true perfectionist. Hold on one second. What's wrong? You okay?
No, that boy, the girl threw the rock in my
Naya,
eye.
Naya, you throw the rocks?
Yes, he did. He threw it way in my eyes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You need some water? Go tell her, see if she could get you some water. You gotta mother all the kids at the playground, y'all. All of them. Jesus Christ. So yeah, tropical for me for transits, definitely. But for natal positions, I use tropical and then I use sidereal to inform me more. So like the whole like thing about Virgo in my theory is that Virgo actually embodies energies of worry and nervousness. And so Virgo seems to be the perfectionist because of the symbol of the woman. But when you really understand the Virgo constellation with the Vedic astrology, it's actually about the woman discovering her sexual energy, discovering, you know, parts of her that actually would make her more dirty. So, yeah, the typical things that Virgos are critical because in tropical astrology, Virgos will show they use Mercury to criticize, but it turns out being it turns out being more judgmental, and it's coming from a worrying place. So Virgo's critique is not always the best critique because it's not always constructive. Virgo's critique can also be very petty, and that information I get more from Vedic because the signs that have the best judgment are the ones that have Agni in Vedic astrology, like Kritika. Agni is the god of fire, so fire helps to make more of a more critical decision about things, some things that are more constructive, things that are more tied to philosophy and higher mindedness. So you think of Virgo, Mercury. Mercury is lower minded energy, right? When you look at the Vedic astrology for Kritika specifically in Taurus and Gemini, Kritika actually is considered part of the class system of the Brahmins, of like the gurus. So that position has a little bit more of an ability to criticize for the sake of helping others. Well, Virgo is criticizing out of a nervousness energy. It's criticizing out of a judgmental energy. So in tropic astrology, we understand Virgo to be critical, but the question is how useful is that from Virgo? The more that Virgo is critical, actually, the more of a tyrant they can be. That's why you don't want Virgo to be in an authority figure, because a lot of Virgos and authority figures become massive tyrants, because that critical energy is not fire energy, it's all just lower mindedness. So that's my theory on Virgo and the concept of being perfect. And I truly believe that actually the signs that have a double ruling, so the signs that have double ruling in modern and classic astrology, for instance, Pisces, Scorpio, Aquarius, they have a classic ruler and a modern ruler. I think they're the ones who actually want more of the truest form of perfection, because they're using also the outside generational planets to help them achieve that. And then that's a whole other theory, but I think that Virgo gets pinned with perfection, and it just makes them even more worrying and nervous. It makes their minds unsettled. You know, a lot of Virgonian energy, they can't sleep at night. They have insomnia. So the perfection energy is too much of a burden for them, in my opinion. And that comes from me studying Sidereal. So that's how I use Sidereal to help me inform me more about those positions. Right. Yes. Yes. Libra next, because they're more balanced, more indecisive. Yeah. Libra being ruling of the scales, have more of the ability to balance the mind. Okay. Hold on. Excuse me, guys. Okay. No touching. No touching. Keep your hands away from each other. No pushing. No touching. No nothing. Sorry, y'all. The playground. It's a dangerous place out on the playground. Kids are dangerous. My daughter included. I gotta keep an eye on her. Sometimes she's the victim. Sometimes she's going after people. So yeah. So that's actually what I think about Virgo. Those are the theories that I'm coming to. It's not something that you will find like in a book or anything like that, because it's my own observation and study, putting the two together and understanding it. So that's why I call my channel Eye of Karina, because I take ownership from my own, perspective. I don't claim to be a great astrological person or philosopher, just a student. Okay, if one doesn't know their accurate rising sign, can one use the moon or the sun? What kind of the planet could replace the ascendant if one doesn't know the accurate birth time? Most astrologers use the sun as a replacement for the rising sign. It won't be as accurate all the time, or only be like in accordance to maybe how the person sees them, because the sun is speaking to like your ego. But you can use the sun if you don't have your accurate rising time or ascendant sign. You can use the sun to forecast. And there is debate about that, but I use it. It does work. It does work. It's not like according to perfect classic astrology, but it does work. And a lot of astrologers actually do use the sun. Well, a lot of astrologers actually do use the rising, but they'll say you can apply it to your sun as well, right? So whenever you see a horoscope being told, they're doing it based off of your rising sign, but some astrologers don't tell you that. And then the ones who do tell you, rising is more accurate, they'll still say you can use your sun or your moon as a secondary way, and to make sure you watch your sun or your moon sign as well, because you can use the sun. Right now, it's a modern practice to use the sun as a replacement for the ascendant or for the rising. The most accurate would be the rising sign, because you're making a forecast based off of the house systems. I'm going to be dropping in my course how to forecast, and I will drop on this YouTube channel uh, a, a snippet of that and showing you how forecast is done. And that's why you'll see from that why the rising is accurate. It's really simple, but it's based off of the house system. That's how they forecast horoscopes. Okay. Love the questions. Thank you guys. So, can we break down tropical as a person's expression formulated by their surroundings, and sidereal as a structure and set in tone? Person's expression is formulated by their surroundings. Yes. I was trying to understand your question. Tropical can be broken down by what is closest to you in the sense of your surroundings, your expressions. A lot of people say that because a lot of tropical astrologers, people who just do tropical and denounce, Vedic, they'll say that it's because you're using the sun energy, like the sun's path, which is really just the earth and the earth around the sun. So you're using the tropical system is closer to us in the most simplest terms that I could say. Well, Sidereal is looking at the truest position of the stars, but that's very far away. Um, Sidereal is a structure. Yes, Sidereal can be used as a structure, but you have to understand where Sidereal lands on the equal to tropical Taurus. So you have to know that it's 24 degrees behind. And I have a video on that, tropical versus sidereal, and I show you how to read it so that you know accurately how to read it, how to know like how far behind sidereal is. But you can also go to Wikipedia and look up the nakshatras, and they'll show you the nakshatras, and they'll show you the nakshatras equal to the Western position. So if that doesn't make sense to you, maybe I will show that to you in another live, how to look up sidereal and tropical. It seems to be a very pressing topic, so I'll definitely do more discussions on that, because it's all a journey. Even the answers that I have is, some astrologers say, oh, like the tropical is your personality and sidereal is your soul's journey, and everybody's got a different way of using it. I use sidereal and Vedic to help me inform more of the positions. That's pretty much what I do on how to guess rising signs. I can do a video on guessing rising signs. Excuse me. I have a video where I actually tried to do that, and I'm not really the best at it. So to be honest, I'm not the best at it. But I can tell you the rules, like the cliche rules, as to what to look for when you're trying to guess somebody's rising sign. But sometimes the rising is what you're seeing in their facial structure isn't always the rising, even though that's the classic rule that your rising is your face. Sometimes it's the moon. Let's, for instance, if they have the moon on the ascendant. Or, for instance, I have a whole Lilith series, and Lilith on the ascendant will also, influence the rising sign. So you can guess somebody's rising sign, but sometimes you might be guessing like maybe the planet that is there versus the actual sign. Thank you. Did I acknowledge the fact that Lilith and Rahu are like counterpart, like a male and female opposite? I like that idea. Um, I wouldn't be able to tell you for sure that they're male versus female, but I guess in Vedic astrology they would say that Rahu is the masculine counterpart, but Lilith and Rahu are, and the South Node and K2 are all connected to the moon's positions. There are points that are related to the moons. which is what makes them demonic, because demonic and the word demonic means of the moon. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about Lovecraft. Does anybody watch that show? It's very rooted in racial tensions. So if you're not big on that, then I can understand why you don't want to watch it. But for my melanated types out there, I definitely recommend to watch it because there's a lot of decoding there, um, that shows you how they manipulate racial politics. And but underneath that is also a lot of esoteric meaning in Lovecraft. So I actually just recommend everyone to watch it because it's showing you how magic is used across cultures. But speaking of that, on Lovecraft, the decoding that I'm going to do on it is on Dee's name, and it has to do with the concept of demons using the etymology of her name. Hi, Sophie. Good afternoon. What does Mars in the 12th house indicate? So, Obi, Mars in the 12th house. One of my favorite charts to read right now has Mars in the 12th house. That's Trump. Trump has got Mars in the 12th house. Okay, so this is how you break down, or how I would break it down. And sorry, there's an ambulance coming by, so let me let that pass first. Okay, so when you think about Mars, Mars is a planet of will, power, action, daily activities as well. So Mars is a personal planet, so it's about like what you do on a regular basis. The 12th house is an area of connected to the bedroom, right? So the 12th house is where you sleep, which is why it's also ruling over your subconscious. The 12th house is where you're isolated, so it can also mean like the places that you go that are more isolated, like the hospitals, things like that. Okay, so there's a lot that you can interpret with Mars in the 12th house. It also depends on the zodiac sign that it's in. But one of the ways that I interpret Trump's Mars in the 12th house is that he is fighting, actively fighting on a regular day basis, his own subconscious, right? His own programming, his own conditioning. The 12th house is also where people lie to you. Hold on one second. You want some water? You got to go to the store. You want to go to the store and get some water? Okay. Okay, catch a squirrel and then we'll go get some water. Okay, so the 12th house can be fighting with your own inner demons, right? It could be fighting or willfully trying to find the secrets that are held from you. So I actually feel like I wish I had said this in the talk that I did with the Astro Geeks, but Mars in the 12th house to me for Trump actually means that he may have been lied to a lot, but he's actively at war with trying to dispel the lies in his own ancestry, dispel the lies in his own conditioning of his mind, how he was brought up, how people taught him how to be, what people kept from him, things like that. It's also very sexual placement. It's not a strong placement for Mars, so you don't have him as much strength. Mars is stronger in an angular house rather than a cadent house. Yeah. Hey, you ready to get some water? So Mars in 12th house is not very strong as in your physical strength, but it does have a strong appetite for bedroom desires, clandestine affairs, things like that.
Get the headphones, bro. What is wrong with
Thanks, guys, for all the questions.
you?
Some view Lilith as a goddess. You ready to go get some water? Okay, we're gonna get some water, and guys, keep the questions coming because I'm walking to the store to get some water, practicing my lives. I think there's a donate button, so if anyone wants to drop me a couple of dollars, thanks so much. um, okay, Lilith as a goddess. Yes, some people are going to view Lilith as a goddess. I do. It's it's not black and white. It's not simple to say that she is or isn't a goddess. No, it's okay. She doesn't need it. Thank you though. It's not simple to say that she is, but in her highest potential she is. in her highest potential she is. You have to dispel the word demonic. That's where it starts because you have to understand that people only understand. Bye. People only understand demons and demonic stuff from traditional religions. And because they only understand it from a traditional religious point of view, she just naturally is evil energy. But Lilith actually just embodies chaos magic. And sometimes this can be scary because it doesn't have any rules, right? But you just have to understand that there's so much that isn't known about feminine energy, about the Lilith energy. So a lot of the times it's just seen as bad, but it's just not that simple. Sometimes you need to pull from your Lilith energy in order to deal with certain things of the world. Like, for instance, the Lilith and Aries energy has been deeply connected to the Me Too movement, the rise of feminism, which is not all the things that I 100% sign up for, but they needed to do that, and they're still fighting that fight against rapists and murderers. So Lilith energy comes in all kinds of ways. And I have a video on demons and diamonds, so check that out where I talk about that because it's just not so simple, you know. The show is called Lovecraft's Country, and it is an HBO fictional series based off of a book, but the way that they spin it is different than the book. And it's in alignment with what's happening right now in the world today. If you decode, if you're really good at decoding, you'll be able to see that. So it's called Lovecraft Country. It's on HBO. Okay, I'm gonna get you some water. Okay, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in and talking and asking questions. I'll be back for random lives like this. I'm gonna take my daughter to the park and keep the questions coming. And they also help me to know what to make on the channel. So I appreciate you. See you soon. Bye.